Okay, we are recording.
Good. Okay, we'll call to order Columbia City Park Board, July 22nd, 2024. We'll start with attendance.
Mark Ellis.
Kim Varga.
Roger Farrell.
Keith Eggleston.
Mayor Ryan Daniel.
Okay, did everybody get a chance to review the minutes from June? There are not any changes. Need a motion to approve those?
I did not, unfortunately, put them in the packet, but I did send them to you guys.
Mhm.
So hopefully you guys got to read them then.
Yeah, I didn't see anything.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes as typed up.
Second. Perfect, all right. Start with some new business, Matt.
We kind of brought this up last time, so it's partially old business. It was the heat discussion, the heat policy. We have one for football, but that's put forth by Coach Fox in the high school. So we do the same as what they do. The one that you guys see from Wallen there, we reached out to their baseball. Another reason why this came up. Go ahead.
That's in here, right?
Yes.
That's right.
The reason why this came up is because this year we had heat sooner than we ever have had. And so we don't have anything, and they do. So we just kind of took that from them and just, if we can model something to that, or if you guys like that, whatever. But that's kind of where we hit this year is we got that temperature, high temps for a week or so, and trying to figure that out.
So do we know what Coach Fox and JFO's policy is?
I would have to print that off,
Right.
but we do have it. I guess I was just football that. And the biggest thing with that is once it gets over 100 degrees, then it factors in whether or not they wear pads or if they wear helmets.
Right.
Or that it drops. I mean, it just drops off everything until, they don't really go without helmets and still practice. If it's that hot, then they won't practice at all.
So I know humidity plays a big role in, whether you're overheated or not, because it's harder to, it's harder to cool yourself down. Is that going to be something that was considered as well? Because, there's that feel-like temperature and stuff.
Yeah, and I think what we call it is the heat index. So, and that's what a lot of the football is based off of.
Okay.
Is the actual, what it feels like outside. So,
Wallen's a little extreme there. The heat index of 106 to 115, they're allowing them to play.
yeah, well, and that's the other thing that we've been talking about as a department is what temperature do we use? Person, especially with the pool, it's 70 degrees. The air temperature has to be over 70 degrees, by state. So you pull in, and our weather DTN we use says it's 67. Somebody pulls in and says, well, my car reads 70, and it's like, which one do you take? So that's why we're also trying to do this at the same time as this, so we can pinpoint a temperature and say, if this sign out here says it's 70, then we'll open up. Or if, this sign, and then what we do is we take the temperature off of the ballpark, Morshes, because it has the temperature over there. Or if that's what we want to use, then, but we have to make one source, and so people can't get up there and say, well, why aren't you opening? My weather app says it's 72. So.
But you're going off of heat index, not the actual temperature.
Well,
On that side, not on obviously pool side, it's on the actual temperature. But I'm saying on the baseball, softball side, you're talking about heat index, which that feels like temperature effectively, right?
Correct.
And so you don't actually have that on the board out there.
It won't be.
Feels like, yes.
Correct.
So.
But if we do, I've talked to Terry about this as well, and if we do stay with the city's weather app, it gives the feel like. So, I mean, if we say, okay, we are going to go with the city's weather app, and we make it put out here, then that makes it easy, because then we can say, okay, the heat index is this, the temperature is this, heat index is this, and this is what we go by.
And using the city's app will make it transparent between everybody.
Sure,
Well, yeah, it's
you would
consistent.
think.
Every, everybody, that has the app, if you will, we pay for that service, so it's, and actually we started paying for that service because it shows us lightning strikes in the area for our
Mhm.
electric department, so, so again, whether it's Matt or me or Sean or any of the other individuals, I mean, they all have the same
Mhm.
weather reading, if you will, so.
Yeah,
And do you go by, but, I guess follow up, do you go by Columbia City, Indiana? Or
Yes.
do you go by the My Location?
no, you need to go by Columbia City,
Okay,
Indiana,
Just make sure that.
because
that's
I've
clear.
seen my location not be my
Yeah,
location.
Yeah.
Right,
Indeed,
right.
Indeed, it's still stuck on other places.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So, and that's what we use during tournaments to watch the weather come in, rain and everything. So we've kind of gotten that tournament group that we have in on the weekends, we've got them to where they understand we make our decisions off of the city's weather app.
And dispatch also runs off of that.
They do.
other app too, so it
They
is
do.
consistent across the board.
Yeah. So I guess we just have to, if you will, kind of catch up with that because we've never had to do it during baseball, softball. Again, it's not ever reared its head as much as it did this year. So, I mean, if you want, we can go ahead and, look at the football one, and I can bring that next time, or we can go ahead and try to come up with something here, or if you like Wallens.
I think we use the football as a baseline.
Okay.
I mean, we know there's gonna be some differences between the two, because they've got a heck of a lot more equipment on them.
Sure, but so do catchers.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, I will say the one night that it was really bad here, we actually had to call our game short
Mm-hmm.
because we had kids dropping, it was just too hot. I do not remember what the temp was that
Yeah.
day, just hot.
Right.
But we gotta have some kind of policy instead of, I don't wanna say no policy.
We need guidance.
Yes.
We need guidance on that. So, and I think even Wallen says if it's a certain temperature, then you have to rotate out catchers so many times, so many innings. Well, a lot of times we don't have a whole lot of people that want to catch. So that's not, that wouldn't be good for us.
Especially in that heat.
Yeah, right. So, but I can get that printed off and we can look over that more next time because we should really get it right. And then, like I said, we'll try to make it so that we have we have this down at the pool. We have this on the TV, so anybody walks up to the admin, they can see it. But I'm gonna, when Terry and I get done doing our little experiment sign thing that we are really excited about, I'll see if he can tie it in somehow to the network so it'll read. And it can give us the same alerts. We can have it do alerts if we want. We can take that off and it's just the temperature that pops up. So,
Looks like there's plenty of options.
yeah. I mean, at least we're narrowing the road down and we're gonna be able to take and look at something hardcore. And I left it upstairs. Are we good with that? You want to go on to the next one on the agenda?
No, I think
Okay,
I'm fine
good
with
with
it.
it, yeah.
all right. So it says here the policies of the pool for private parties. We tried to do that this year for a private party, and it was not very good. There was a lot of things that we didn't think about and didn't work out in front of the party. Something that I got a hold of the New Haven Park superintendent, and of course he's over jury pool. They do their hours differently. They don't have their swim lessons in the morning. So what they do is they have the swim from 12 to 4. And then, then they have swim, I don't think they even have swim team. Then after they designate that, then it's a private swim that you can have, and you get the pool with that. But they only allow like 50 people. They have a max. Like I think our pavilion's 25. So we could do that, and they charge $150 for each hour that you're in there. Right now, if we do a private party, which it shouldn't be called a private party, if we do a party in the pavilion, it's $250, and it's for 3 hours. So we're right there, and he's.
That includes what now?
That includes the pavilion. You can bring in your own food and drink with that. But really, it just provides the pavilion for you extra. And then you get up to 40 people that come in. And the other 20 that come in after that, you pay $2 a person over that to come in. So we don't cap it, but we've ran into this year with groups, for instance, ProFed. They want to do appreciation day. So we made up tickets. They couldn't understand that if they give out all 200, then that takes half our occupancy for that day, because our occupancy is 400. So if the occupancy doesn't, thin out in a couple hours, then their group is standing outside. Or if they all come in at once, then half of the public can come in. So what we did to steer them a different direction is we said, okay, we'll give you 200 tickets. You can make them however you want, and that way they're still usable for your, as a bank
Promotion or
account. Yeah.
whatever.
And then if not all of them can be used because we're at capacity, they can still use them another day. And then we will count up each day how many those tickets are, which the majority will be the day they pass them out. And then that way they know that they either all of them got used, the 200, or maybe 150 got used, so they can kind of know that number where they could go next year with it.
So the ProFed thing, that's not a private party, that's just them buying 200 tickets to get in.
Yeah, it's
Come in, use it as your time allows.
right, like a promotional deal, yeah.
Okay.
But we can even go to like only Tuesdays and Thursdays. We have the pavilion open from 4 to 7 for birthday parties or whatever in the pavilion, that you can rent that out. I wished I would have brought that down.
We'll get it.
I'll go run and get that real quick.
Matt and I have been talking about this for a little while, of like, we really need to have the park board set policies for how we do what we do, rather than kind of a la carte, like, oh, well, these people want to do this, so let's work with them, okay, these people want to do that, and having some standard, I think, because, there were individuals who were frustrated, let's say, at the time that the actual pool was closed. There are individuals that get frustrated when we hit capacity because, 200 people came in with one party and things like that. And so I think that's one thing that Matt and I have been talking about for a while is how do you guys set us, again, you're the decision-making body when it comes to that. So what is the policy? What should the policy be for the aquatic center? Understanding it is a public facility, but understanding that there are opportunities to make a little bit of additional money and create an opportunity where private parties can happen to a certain extent. Now, not,
Right.
I think we have all decided it's not worthwhile to rent the whole facility out. Is that a fair comment?
Yes, that's very fair.
Yes. So I think that needs to be a policy that's made by this body. So
Yeah, because during that whole time, I don't know if he spoke about that Monday.
I didn't know.
Okay. We did have a group that came in, miscommunication. Long story short, 200 people showed up. And that really hurt our capacity. We were already at 360, something like that. And then 60 kids
Come running off.
busted loose, from that party. They brought in 3 charter buses. So it was quite an ordeal. But the entire time, they were saying, well, do you do this for other people? Do you do this? Well, no, we tried to explain to them that this was the first time we've ever done that. But there are some rules. There's state codes that we have to go by.
Well, and there's background to that too, is that there was, like you guys had, you guys had discussed this with them a long time previously, and then there was like a gap, and there was, so when he says miscommunication, it wasn't just miscommunication on the actual operations, it was also miscommunication from the very beginning of like what they wanted and what we were able to provide and things like that. So it was a good learning lesson, let's say.
It was. It
Where
was.
did they come from?
They came from the Kendallville
That's
area.
That's what I thought.
Mhm.
I thought I heard that somewhere.
You talked about this, I think, last month.
Yeah.
Yeah. mhm,
Yeah.
mhm. Yeah, and that's one thing that we've going forward since Kyle did leave us in May. We've all taken our own positions on it, and had our things. But what we found out altogether is that there's so many of there's no standard. So whoever would call, the decision would be made to whoever called, and then the next person that calls in, that
It wasn't the
it,
same
wa- it
standard.
wasn't the
Right,
standard
right.
that needed to be. So I think for the next person coming in, we have to do a couple extra policies, get some things standard, and that way it's much easier for that person to come in
Right.
and take over, and they have some solid things that, okay, no, we don't do this,
There's a cheat
Yeah.
sheet effectively
Yeah,
that,
back to your
Correct.
here are
statement.
your options.
Back to your statement of having a
Right.
policy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something
Yeah.
for people to go look at, like,
Yeah.
oh,
Well, sure.
we can't do
Mhm.
it this way.
You know.
Yeah. And that could even
Yeah,
be
that's
published to the
smart.
website, right?
Well,
Yes.
yeah, we definitely can.
Yeah,
And
and then under
again,
the
the fact
pool-
that we've hit capacity so many times this summer,
Mhm.
just, I think, again, exacerbates the issue of we need to be real careful about how much we rent the pool out, if you will,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
create capacity issues potentially along the way. so.
It's a great problem to
Oh, it's a
have. It's just
wonderful
hard
problem,
to.
but
you
it's
need to
still a
manage it.
problem.
Yeah, you're right, you need to
Yeah.
manage it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just had Huntington park superintendent come Friday with one of his councilmen because they wanted to see if they could do something in Huntington like this, because there's a lot of people from around the area that come up and swim, and so they were looking at that. I was just trying to give them some numbers and some things that have come up over the last few years that they should really look at. But on the New Haven side of things, they do open from 12 to 4. And then they have swim lessons. And then,
12 to 4?
Mhm.
How do they do that?
Well, I found out that I don't know the correct answer to that. I did find out something I did not know, is that New Haven Parks is not connected to New Haven, the city of. They are Adams Township. So they are.
They're a joint board. They're a joint parks district, effectively. Is that what you're saying?
They're still governed. They're governed by the Adams Township.
Okay.
So the city can't. They don't have any control over their money. They don't have anything like that. So the park can do what they feel needs to be done with a park board and stuff like that. But it's not. It's
But
a township.
park system, not a
Yeah.
city park system.
And the only reason that they got named New Haven is because that's the biggest city in Adams Township.
Mm.
So that was just that like blew my mind when I found that out when I was talking to Nick.
The pool is New Haven or the Parks Department?
It's the Parks Department, so their
The
jury
jury
pool
Okay.
is theirs. And so they have a different setup there. They have different cabanas that you can rent, and it's more of a water park experience from what I'm gathering. I've never been there.
But
It's a
it
big
really
place.
doesn't look much different than ours. I mean,
They have two
No,
different
it's
pools.
larger though, I think
they have 2 pools?
yeah.
They do, and one's 400 and one's 700 on capacity. So, and that's why we had trouble with ProFed, because they just want to, jury pool did this. Well, sorry, we can't. We don't have that many.
Well, big.
We're not as big.
We're
yeah.
not jury pool.
Right.
Well, and New Haven has, what is it, 13,000 people in their
Yeah.
city?
Really?
This is our
Is that
10.
big?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not to mention all of the 300,000 that live right next door. so-
Right, right.
Well,
Yeah.
and that, I mean, they count who's ever in the township.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I mean,
so
it's not
Oh,
just
so
the
it's a county,
city.
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
township.
But they do the 12 to 4 open swim or public swim. Then they do swim lessons. And then from 6 to 8, they do that private party thing where they rent out the cabana and they only let that take place during those
So
2
they have
hours.
set programming hours.
One thing that we've ran into here is we're very
Interesting.
full. We're scheduled quite squeezed, and so there is no time for us to do any kind of chemical, like big round shock. We have to time that. We have to bring the guys in late at night, shock it over the night, and then they come back in the next day and take care of
Check it.
everything going on. So that has been something that's been an obstacle, is having that free time to be able to do a maintenance thing here or there. But for the last 5-6 years, that's just what we've been doing. So that's what I found out from New Haven.
So they use like one pool for swim lessons, and then
More than likely, yes. I didn't get
Part of
into
that
that talk
pool,
with him.
yeah. We don't have enough space to do.
'Cause I was
remember,
pretty.
does their slides go, those slides don't go into the pool, do they? Or do?
I've never been there. I can't honestly say.
Because I remember when we were looking at the pool, we went over to Drury, we looked at it. We also went over to Parkview. Was it Parkview Y? Or no, is it
Jorgen-
Parkview?
Jorgensen.
Jorgensen, yeah,
Went
boy.
to Jorgensen Y, and I may be mixing those two up, I don't remember, but, yeah.
Yeah, I know Jorgensen's, their slides go into the pool.
They do?
Seems
Yes.
like-
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
I think they go, I think Drury goes into a chute. I don't think it goes into the pool. I think
Okay.
I could be wrong, but
I
anyway.
can't
it doesn't
remember.
matter.
Yeah,
Doesn't
I don't.
matter.
I
We were
don't.
just there for swim meets, so.
Which I'll say that Megan DeVito's been great. Between the knowledge she had prior to and coming in and everything, it's very nice to interact because she's been able to take on that role and really, all I gotta do is say, okay, when do I have to have the meet check to you? So they can go to the meet, which their city is this week, starts Thursday, I think. And then it's 3 days, and then they're done. The swim team's done. So yeah, on that was just a little bit of, from New Haven. I haven't reached out to Plymouth yet because I know they're similar with a pool and they're similar in size that we are.
Very close, yeah.
So I haven't reached out to them yet. So that's that private party issue, and we want to get away from the words private party. So when the pavilion is rented, I don't know if we should go ahead and do like we do at the park at Morsches and say it's a pavilion rental.
It's a party rental is what it is.
Yeah,
It's really a
it's-
party rental.
yeah,
It's
or
not
a pavilion rental.
Private party, it's just a, yeah, it's
A
just.
party, okay.
Because at the end of the
You're renting
day.
the space,
It's,
right?
it's the space, but it's also the admission, right?
Well, that's
So,
true.
I mean, depending on how you look at that, but I absolutely would not call it a private party, because it is not a private party.
No.
And then when you
I
say
work-
that, people have different
I was gonna
ideas.
say, if you say private party,
Yeah.
I think I've got access to the whole pool, and
Yeah.
it's just me and my
Just
group.
me, yeah.
Right.
Yep,
Me and Keith are
absolutely.
gonna have a private party.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
When the family's over, it's just us, just
Yeah.
the family.
To me,
Yeah.
it's no different than renting the pavilion over at Morsches.
Yep,
And the playground's right there.
yep.
So kids can go out and use
Yeah.
the playground,
Yeah.
and everyone else can too.
You're not renting the playground.
Right.
Well, and the hardest thing is getting the right amount of lifeguards.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Manning issues.
Mm-hmm. Staffing,
Um,
yeah.
Just so we can start to outline a policy,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that I'm even aware, what is, I see it on Facebook as pools capacitized.
Mm-hmm.
We're at capacity, but
Okay.
I don't even know what time the pool's open, what time it closes.
Okay.
Just so we can try and break that schedule out, because I do like, you have to take care of the general public, the swim team.
Mhm.
You've got so many people fighting for that pool time that
Well,
it should be able to be worked out where you could block times out for it.
I know that Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays we have swim team from 7 to 9. then after
In the morning?
in the morning, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays, it's after the pool closes. So it's 7 to 9 on Tuesdays and Thursdays because the pool closes at 7. Then after the 9 o'clock, they get ready for swim lessons. And then they carry swim lessons from I think it's 9:30. Yeah, they do it from 9:30 then to 11 is swim lessons. And then from 11:30 to 12, that's when most of the guards come in and get ready because they open at 12. And then they stay open till 7.
Mhm.
So and then we fit everything else in between there.
So people, when they're renting the pavilion, they're renting it between noon and 7.
Well, I think we should, I mean, it's kind of like this already, is that we should do it in like a 2-hour or 3-hour block.
Well, yes, I get that, but I guess what I'm saying is, like, they're not renting it from 7 to 9 p.m.,
No,
right? Or 9 to midnight, right, or whatever.
Correct.
They're running it during the time where we're already open.
Mhm.
We already have lifeguards,
Mhm.
so that's why they're only renting a pavilion,
Mhm.
and they get X amount of admissions.
correct,
Right.
because we have to watch for the occupancy.
Yep.
Yep.
And that's pretty much clockwork every day with the pool. From 7 in the morning to 7 at night, it's got somebody inside of it.
Do you have someone in the pavilions all the time?
No, the pavilions are from that 12 to 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when
Well,
you-
I mean, from 12 to 7, is there people renting the pavilions?
Because right now we have it in 3-hour blocks to where it goes from 12 to 3 or 12 to 4, and then 4 to 7.
So just twice a day,
Yeah.
2 rentals?
Now, is this on a daily basis? I mean, how, does this occur every day with the groups? With
Yes.
the- Really?
Wow.
That want the pavilion?
Yes,
Every day?
every day.
Oh, my word.
Now,
We have
those-
we have the
That's a lot to
YMCA.
manage.
Mhm.
We have the YMCA's from around. Normally it's Noble County. They've been the last 3 years.
Yeah.
They'll rent 1 or 2 days to bring their kids. We have all kinds of after hours daycares and things like that that
Wow.
bus their kids over. It's quite a
Problem
deal.
to have.
Yeah.
It is.
It's an
Yeah, that's
attractive.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's attractive.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
My question, just want to make sure we're clear. The pavilion has an outdoor space and an indoor space. We're talking about the indoor space, not the outdoor. I mean, they can bleed into the.
Yes.
That's probably a
Yes.
word, but you know what I'm saying. They can go into the outdoor space, but the indoor space is really what we're renting.
Yeah, the block.
The
Mhm.
inside the block building with
Mhm.
the garage doors.
Yes. Yes, that is what
Okay.
we're renting.
That's great.
But
Unbelievable.
yeah, it is. And you know, honestly, the aquatics website is pretty thought out. Has a lot of information on it. If you haven't looked at it, you know, take a look at it. It really explains a lot. I'm currently talking to. I can't think of her last name now. Her first name's Medea, but she does website designing. And I talked to Terry, and it would be easier for us because the way we do the website, the actual parks website, is not very informative at all. But the aquatics seem to be better, and that was just because of the person that was doing it. So I'm trying to get that back, the parks, to where you go to the parks website. I've been looking at all the parks around and how they differently do things and get the information. So the hope is that, you know, for instance, you go to the park webpage and you hit events, and you know all the events for the year that we've scheduled come up, or for at least 6 months, so everybody can see that. You know, you hit the aquatics tab and it has everything
Yeah.
that way. So it's
Hours of
easier.
operation and pool rental, pavilion rental,
Dress
whatever. Yeah,
codes.
yeah,
And then
If you
we
don't
can
rent the
have
pool.
the baseball registration on there, because people do look at that a lot more than people may think. And when they don't have the answers there, then you know they call or they get mad or they said they didn't see it. And so if people are in that instant society and you know social media everywhere, we just need to get that so they can have that social media up. So that's something that I'm working on here, and hopefully by the first of the year, we can have that up and running. So, so I can get you guys to more information on that party rental for the pavilion, and I can lay you out a schedule time of how the pool operates instead of just saying it out loud, so you guys can take a look at it.
Matt, how often do you get called about renting out the pool, meaning renting out the full facility? Is it weekly? Is it bi-weekly? Is it?
In the summertime, we don't have hardly that many, but it's people trying to get ready for the season. And I would say there's easy once a week. We get phone calls.
Prior to season starting?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So they can get
But
in.
during the season, you're not having weekly calls or even daily calls from people typically?
No, that really slides off because people have already made their plans or
Yeah.
whatever for the summer. But yeah, up until then, we can easily have one a week average,
Wow.
if not more.
The reason I'm asking is that it doesn't sound like it would be urgent for this board to maybe do just that piece. To
Right.
just pass a policy of we don't rent out the facility as a whole. It could be a part of a comprehensive policy
Yes.
because you're not in a rush to get kind of so that you can tell people, hey, listen,
Right.
the policy is kind of a thing.
And-
Although it's an unwritten policy currently, but still.
Right, and they're, changing it mid-year when we're almost done
Yeah.
with
Right.
season.
I was
So,
gonna say,
so that's why, I brought it up last month is so you guys can kind of get some ideas. Because
Yeah.
the main focus of this is not only to have a good policy over there, but to lay the guidelines for the next person that comes in that may not understand the gravity of how busy it is over there during these 3 to 4 months.
Board members, would it be valuable, and I don't mean to put more work on Matt, but would it be valuable for him to draft up some ideas and stuff to bring to, like
think
some
it-
ideas and concepts of what they're kind of thinking in progress or in process, if you will?
Sure.
Or-
I think that
Yeah.
would be helpful.
I think the
yeah.
pros cons list would be a very
Yeah.
good idea.
Yeah.
I mean.
Or
you
it's
guys-
kind of like a simple
you guys are the
agenda,
ones
just.
Right, yeah.
Fielding the phone calls, know all the history,
Mhm.
know what works, what doesn't work.
And it may spur a question
Hmm.
from you guys.
Or
Right.
300.
Yes, that does happen.
When do you plan on hiring the,
My thoughts on is that we will probably into August, the 1st of September, start that process. And then usually it takes a month to get through all the interviews and all that, and then look at hiring then. So
Hiring what?
a pool manager. Mhm.
sounds like it's been going pretty smooth.
That's what we hoped. It was look like it's going smooth.
It's a whole lot of duck, very calm above the water, very chaotic underneath.
Yeah.
Yes. It's been a great experience for us, honestly, because you don't really know a person's position or what it's like until you're in it.
Right,
And so, with that being said, then we're able to do something that we feel will help the next person and not make it be so chaotic that it can be for the 3 to 4 months. Because it's all it's such just a right
Well,
now.
we definitely want to set them up for success. right?
Absolutely,
Right.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's one reason why we all agreed that we were going to take on the different pieces and go through it, because there wasn't enough time to really hire anybody, and if we did, then they would be right in the middle of stuff, and they may or not stay around. So
Yeah.
I
That
also,
is smart.
I would add, that as Matt and I have talked about lots of different things, now that he's, a year and change, in the position and stuff, there's a lot of things that I think have been unwritten policies or unwritten procedures
Mhm.
that really need to go through you guys to become written policies and written procedures as the body that kind of governs the Parks Department. I think that makes a lot of sense to go through you. So don't be surprised if you see more and more policies come in front of you, because I think I think we have just found that there was a lot of things that were being done that, and you guys all know that you didn't know about those things being done or those things being decided. I know Matt has been really dedicated to saying, okay, what are the things that we really need to have park board stamp of approval for? What are the things that we need, them to really consider and think about as we think about governing our park system in
Right.
an appropriate and proper fashion, right? So,
I agree wholeheartedly.
So-
I mean,
Do you guys do like an end of season, survey for your employees and the managers and?
No, we have an end of the season, like, thank you.
Uh-huh,
Go
yeah.
swimming, do whatever, we bring
Mhm.
food in.
Maybe.
We did do the surveys last year.
Okay.
We got on SurveyMonkey and made up some for lifeguard specific, and then some for admin specific, and then that led us to what we were trying to get changed at the beginning of the year, and so that's what's led us into what we're doing now.
do we also do for swim team parents? Do we send one out to
That'd be
them?
smart.
We
I
did.
felt like you did, but I don't know. that
We
for-
did,
so.
or did, I don't know if we did, I just think that they were very vocal in what they thought about last year.
Sure.
Um,
But a lot of changes were made because of those vocal
Oh, yes,
opinions and thoughts. So
absolutely.
I will say I've heard a lot less about swim team this year. Granted, we're only, are we halfway through the season? Are we even in
Oh.
the season yet?
Swim team?
Swim team, yeah.
Yeah, it ends this week.
Okay, so we're almost done. So,
Yeah.
I mean, again, I've not heard much of anything about swim team compared to last year, which I heard multiple comments last year.
Yeah, it's definitely been a much better year on that,
Yeah.
on that side of things, most definitely. So yeah, so what I'll do is I'll just kind of get like a skeleton
Mhm.
type thing, and then I'll have that for you guys, and we can dive into that more than at that meeting. Let's see, the Eagle Park update, that's still going very well. We are to the point now where we're still in the 30-day window to let that pavement get settled out and the oils and everything get out of it so that the paint or the,
Pickleball court?
yeah,
Yeah.
for the ceiling to go. Then we also are looking at some padding in that because of the natural gas meter is right there.
Saw that.
And, it'll just take once. Maybe not everybody will, get close to hitting it, but all it'll take is once, and it's a pretty hefty piece.
Yeah.
And we're also in the midst of getting some estimates for possibly what it would cost to do the bathrooms there, because they haven't been touched for a very, very long time. So we're just kind of tossing that out and seeing down the road how that will transpire.
Which
So,
direction will the net be, or the nets be on those
Mhm.
pickleball courts?
the
Run
nets will
north?
be east-west,
East-west.
So the
Okay.
courts will run north.
north-south,
Right.
yes.
Then we'll go across them this
Right,
way.
so,
like
right,
this
so
way.
I only asked that because, and that's kind of how I thought it was gonna be.
Yep.
The whole north side of the building,
Mhm.
where the gas meter is, and someone, is there a chance that someone could hit the brick wall there, or I don't know what
Yeah,
I don't know the
there's-
size of it and how far from
I
the boundary of the court, to the,
think that's part of what I printed off to you.
because would it be worthwhile to put padding on the wall itself?
I don't really think so, because you've got almost 20 feet before you
there's
hit
that
the
much.
before you hit the brick wall.
Okay,
It's like 19.6.
okay. That's
So
quite a
from
bit.
that in line. Now, the north side where the fence is in,
Mhm.
that's 10 foot. So you come in the gate, you have 10 foot, you're on the court.
Okay,
But on the other side to that gas meter, it's
so,
it's roughly 20 feet.
so that's enough, so just protecting the gas meters,
I-
not protecting the gas meter, protecting people from the gas meter.
Yeah, tripping and falling,
Right, right.
into
You
it.
don't want to fall into that.
No, and I don't.
Okay. I was just curious. Was there a drawing on it?
It is definitely something that if we find that there's an issue, there's nothing that says we can't put up stuff afterwards, so.
Right.
But I get
Right.
where you're coming
Right.
from.
But
Yeah, because if you're gonna get
there
pretty
is a
aggressive and
problem.
run, I've never played the game, but
Yeah.
I've heard that it can
I
get
tried
pretty.
to play the game.
pretty exciting.
And,
Um,
a lot of people are more competitive and what I think the game was originally
Yes,
designed for.
me too.
And people of my age and a little younger, take off trying to be a hero and getting the ball, and then why I saw 3 or 4 people just, and I was one of them.
Oh.
Very, very painful. But anyway, 20 feet ought to be enough,
Uh-huh.
but I've seen them be very competitive in long run.
Well, yeah, and it's just like anything else, like the mayor was saying, you start out, it takes one time, and then you have to fix it, so, yeah.
I did.
That's in the back, that's in one of the.
Yeah, I
one of
put the
back.
revised so you guys could see the
Well,
light
it shows
poles.
the pickleball court.
Yeah.
I didn't see that part.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
it
thank
shows
you.
the pickleball court, it shows where the skate park will be,
Mhm.
it shows the bathtub that drains out,
Kidney shaped bathtub, yeah.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
So we're calling it now?
I call it that because everything drains into it.
I know, I get
And then
that.
you pull the plug and it all goes out
It
one
all goes
main,
out, mhm.
yeah. And then you can see where the trellis swing is sitting, which, that has been delivered. That's what's down in those blue tarps down there.
Cool.
So, and they were supposed to start putting the footings in for that
Okay,
last week.
yeah.
I don't know if they got to, but they were also pouring more sidewalk. And to my knowledge, Hunger is not going to be able to start until December.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
So last
yeah.
I heard was October, so they. pushed
Oh,
it back.
okay. No,
Well,
that's
but that was like a month and a half ago, so if you heard
Okay.
something more recent, then that doesn't surprise me.
yeah. I know right now they're out in Denver doing one out there, so they're all over the place. And I've
Yeah.
not gotten anything bad from the people that go up Muse Kendallvilles.
I've heard just nothing but great things about it.
Yeah, they're
Oh,
ecstatic.
They are.
I need to go
They're
visit
a
that.
fantastic company. They do great work. I hate that we keep getting bumped back, but it is what it is. We bumped them back a year, so I
Right.
guess it's kind of our
Right.
fault, so. Well, it's the bid's fault, but it's still our fault, so. Mhm.
But that was part of what I printed off to you guys about the change order that come through, because we doing our own street lights.
That's what this change order is for.
Yes, it is. I read it quickly, and it looks like that Kissinger Electric was going to do all that work, and then we ended up taking it.
And this is lighting in Eagle Park, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. The electric department has been very gracious in helping us out several times with that, so. And so has the water department with the storm sewer.
It's been all hands on deck right there, so.
It has, it has.
And it's also saved us like $1 million, so.
Wow.
So.
Yeah.
That's great.
See,
And I just so you're aware, I mean, the Parks Department has been paying for their work, okay? The difference is there's no markup, it's not private, and, our people know how to do this kind of stuff. They may not do it on an everyday basis, well, when it comes to the excavating and things like that, we may not do that on an everyday basis, but we have people, actually, we have a couple of employees from previously of White's and Excavating that are on our team now and things like that, so we feel really good about the product we've been able to provide for a significantly cheaper tax dollar hit, so.
Makes sense.
yes.
Absolutely.
then the last two things here is, City Slam is this weekend. We've had a lot more teams reach out. That is a good problem again, because we're having to scramble around and make sure we're getting everything properly done. So that'll start Saturday, it'll end Sunday, but it's a fundraiser for the softball, if you will, not really boosters, but the softball committee. They pretty much run all of it. Then Melinda gives them help on some of the programming. In years past, they were able to also have a director, if you will, so everybody had one person to go to. This year, the directors they like are busy, so they're making do with what they have as well. And that'll intel us, because normally the maintenance side of things is handled by them as well, so that they get more of the fundraiser money than paying it out in labor. So But this year, we're gonna have to be hopping in and helping them out with that, so.
Getting older, man, getting older.
Yeah, aren't we all? And then jump off a branch and then really feel old.
Jump, that's fine.
Well, I tried to make it sound better than it is.
Actually, I think at the last count, there was 15 teams.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, yep,
15 teams, so we'll be running 3 fields all weekend.
That's great.
yep. And I think that's only 2,
3. It's
it went ahead and went 3. I know there was 2 teams in the other age group that we didn't know if they were willing to play and.
Yeah, last I
Stuff like-
heard it was a go, but it's just, I always find it really nice to see where we can pull teams from.
Mm-hmm,
You know, we've had teams come from Michigan, we've had teams come from Illinois, Ohio, and while we don't reach that far this year, it's still northeast, northwest Ohio, northeast Indiana, northwest Ohio that we're pulling from. So it's a great thing that the committee started that. I think we're on year 12 or 13
close to that, yeah. Mm-hmm.
of doing that, and it brings a lot of bodies into the community, and it's a good thing. It's a good fundraiser, very much.
Yes, it is.
I'd love to know the economic impact of that, of those tournaments,
Mhm.
for, on our
That'd
community,
be
on our
awesome.
restaurants, on our
Right.
hotels, on our, you know, gas stations, on our, it'd be interesting to know the
Go to
economic
the
impact.
restaurants and say, yeah.
Mhm.
I know at one
See an
point in
increase.
time, we used to have to, for other tournaments, have to let the businesses and
Yeah.
restaurants and everything know and give them schedules. We did that for, I know Subway, and we did that, because they would,
They don't want to
they
run
want to
inventory.
order.
Right.
They want to order everything, make sure they have enough staff, so.
You know what else? We've been to swim meets, like in other cities, where
Mhm.
they'll give you like they'll give the kids like a coupon for an ice cream
Mhm.
at their Dairy
Mhm.
Queen. And so then, well, let's go eat
Yep.
at Dairy Queen
Yep.
and
Mhm.
use your coupon.
That 99-cent coupon will
Yeah.
return,
Yeah.
you know,
Yes.
Right.
$50 worth of
Yeah.
Food.
benefit.
Yeah.
We did that
That's a
with
good
baseball
idea.
this
Yeah,
year.
okay.
Is that we put a little package together for the coaches to hand out at the end of the year, also to try to help retain.
Both leagues got it.
Okay, both leagues got it. To hopefully retain some kids that may be on the fence, and it's kind of like they get that participation ribbon and they want to come back. So that's what we were trying to do this year, and hopefully we can make it better
No,
next
and-
year.
And very thankful to you and your staff and the businesses in the area, because the packets that came out, it was unreal what
Mhm.
was in that package. I mean, there wasn't anybody walking out of the huddle without a smile on their face.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of great things in there.
Yeah.
A lot of activities for them to keep on doing and stuff like that.
And I've noticed in this year especially, and I think I let the mayor know as well, is that it's amazing this year of the people that want to give, and then people that are trying to run things to be able to give to Humane Society or cancer or whatever. And I didn't either. I was just blinded by it, or it just is kicked off and went rampant the last year. So we're dealing with a lot different stuff than we have in the past in that way. So it's been changing our thought process. And then the last thing here is the on turf requested dates. You guys see that in front of you. That is something that we need to vote on tonight, and
Tonight,
that's why I pass it out early. One thing I've noticed is they do not do the one on 4th of July anymore.
yeah, who was the one that scheduled the teams playing on 4th of July this year?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was a problem, but we fixed it. It got overlooked.
Thunderston? Which one's the state one? Is that the Midwest Championship?
No, the state one's usually in June. It's the big ones are usually in June, and that falls, the 20th and then 27th are usually the two biggest ones of their year. And then they had to move, I think they called it the firecracker or whatever, because this year especially, it was the 3rd, then, we were off the 4th, and then the 5th was Friday, and then they wanted to roll right into tournaments, and I said, no, we can't clean up, and we can't get around that fast, sorry, so. I did have Melinda look it over to see if there's anything conflict, like opening day or anything like that, and she said she couldn't see anything on there that would interrupt what we're trying to do. So.
No, the only thing that worries me is that whole month of June, because you have essentially
Every weekend.
all the teams trying to get their practice in, because that's leading up to tournament for
Mhm.
us, or for the record. And they're taking every single weekend, and
Well, I think it helped out.
as much as everybody tries to get along, there's some heated discussions that happen on that Sunday when people are trying to get in to practice. And
Yeah, well, hopefully everybody has seen a change that they have 5 and 6 they can go to. And then usually they rent the fields from we should be able to schedule practices on Sunday after the time frame that they give us, unless it's rain. I don't know if that's actually being done. I think a lot of people on Sunday are just showing up and thinking that you're going to get to practice. So that is part of the problem as well. And we currently have some issues with DeVol, is that codes have been passed down from this family group to this family group. And the other day we had a lady and her child throwing drags it out on the field so they could, practice pitching, because she was able to get into DeVol. So there's just a lot of people that say, this is mine and I can use it, and they don't know the repercussions behind it. So to that point, I hope that people will start calling in more and
Right.
get the practice, because we are very tight on and our land usage is very tight. Even though we're putting on more parks, it's everything that we get is almost scheduled.
well, and if you're gonna free up 5 and 6, you just think you're gonna show up and practice, that's your fault, then you
Yeah.
gotta schedule it.
Yeah, and that's what we've seen. And Melinda gets all those phone calls. So
Keeping field dry in that shed down there?
for co-ed, yeah, and that's something that I've already had to talk to Tom about, is that we don't leave anything down there except for the drag and some paint for some of the teams that we have, travel ball teams. For Columbia City, that we've made an agreement with, is that they pay us a certain amount of money for each boy that's on their team, because that person or player would come to the park, and so they're paying us for taking that person away.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And when
Basically,
with
it's a loss, it's an opportunity cost, because
Yes.
you guys are losing the opportunity to that player, but they're using our fields.
right,
Right,
and
right.
they line them, except for the foul lines. We have to take care of the foul lines,
Mhm.
but they line their fields for the games. They set them for the games. It doesn't put any extra onto us. But that's been the agreement down there. Just so happens people abuse it, so we have to talk to that. And then so would you like to talk about it in August, the dates for On Turf, or would you like to continue with that?
Melinda put her stamp of approval on it, that it wouldn't interfere with our attorney or opening day.
Yes.
He says with confidence.
But not with what's that commercial? Not with imprint?
No,
Come.
not imprint for sure.
Oh.
No, she already looked over the dates and it doesn't interfere with us, and 5 and 6 being open in June. That's plenty of space.
Yeah, that's kind of why we wrote the agreement, and you guys agreed upon that, so that we would have opportunity for the public to be able to get in and use the fields, because that was the problem in the past. There was no time for the park leagues to get their practice in, so.
Created some pretty heated exchanges.
Yeah. So can we get a motion?
I move that we approve the proposed on-turf dates.
Okay,
I second.
second. Okay.
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those that aren't, get same. As far as I know, the Steve Simons little concert that he had over here went fine. I didn't hear anything about it, so I'm sure it went good. And after this weekend, all of our baseball, softball will be done, and JFL and soccer start. So we're right into
I
it.
have two things, Matt, if you
And,
will.
Okay, yeah.
I do as well.
Okay.
No, please, go ahead, board
All right.
member first.
All right, so how did the fireworks go?
They were so good.
That
Was it good?
They
So-
were good.
That was one of my things.
We were driving back from Fort Wayne, and we saw that it had rained,
Mhm.
you know, and so we're driving back and saw it started about the right time. We could see it clear out to Magnavox, you know, to the water tower, east of town.
Mhm.
But it seemed like it didn't last very long,
Oh, it was so
like
long.
15, maybe 18
It was,
minutes.
it was different this year because last year they
Did-
put more of a pause in between.
Did they push it because of the threat of rain?
And not necessarily the threat of rain, it's just that they knew everybody was antsy because it
Okay.
had rained.
Okay.
So, and we even had trouble communicating to the band when the last song would be, because of that whole influx of do we shoot them now or do we
Okay.
shoot them, and so we were in the middle of that. But they did do it one after another after another.
Yeah, they were really going
They were
off.
so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the budget amount for that is how much?
It's,
So currently, for this year it was $10,000.
Okay.
For next year, we put it up to 15,000.
Okay.
With that being said, I was informed that Trilake spends $30,000 on their fireworks. Now granted, number one, it is all fundraised. It is not taxpayer dollars.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And second of all, they fundraise throughout the whole year for
Mhm.
that one event,
Mhm.
right? So, I think we've gotten fairly decent agreement from council members that they're in favor of moving that bar up a little bit. I don't know that anybody is in favor of spending $30,000 of taxpayer money on
That's a
things
lot.
that go boom,
Right.
right?
That's a lot.
However, one of the things that I know Matt and I have started having a conversation about is, we probably need to go back to the idea of getting a primary sponsor of the event that can put in, we'll say $10,000 more, and then we take a 10,000 or, I don't know how much we actually paid to Cam Tour this year, was it 12?
12.
12,000.
Mhm.
So we take a $12,000 show, and now we're having a $20,000 show,
Right.
right? And it's not taxpayer money, well, it's additional taxpayer money, but not, 10 or 15,000 extra
Right.
dollars of taxpayer money going up and going
Right.
When you
boom.
have a
So-
title sponsor, that
So,
helps.
well, exactly. And I think, we kind of did that, and then we didn't do it, we did it again, and we didn't do it. We've kind of gotten out of that practice. Again, obviously, I don't fault Matt in that because, he kind of stepped into chaos.
Well-
But with that being said, I guess my question on that topic is, what have you heard from the public? Or what have you heard from, or what have you seen for yourself? Because we've gotten both sides. I've literally, I've met with 4 different council members about the budget up to this point, and I got a 50-50 split on it was great or it left a lot to be desired. So I don't know exactly where things are, and I'm trying to judge from the public and from you guys, and so that's my question on that.
I personally left our fireworks and was like, wow, that was so good. And I also went to Tri-Lakes,
Mhm.
and I didn't feel like it was any less than Tri-Lakes.
I think Tad had said that ours was 15 minutes long and Trey Lakes was 16 minutes long.
Oh, really?
So it was a minute longer. I think that's what he had said, so.
Why was he timing that?
Well, he had said he happened to look at his clock and, you'll have to talk to him about it.
I will.
don't know.
No,
but
I'm
that's-
kidding.
So, but,
I thought it was just as good. I mean, yeah,
I thought it was really good.
yeah.
The reason I ask that is because I think it's been 10,000 for a number of years. I know prices go up with everything, and this had not gone up.
Mhm.
And I've not been to it in a couple of years, And so I just wanted to
We did
see what
have-
that was and see if there was opportunity to do that and increase our show, you know.
Around us were clapping and woohooing, and
Good.
so
Okay.
Yeah, the little rain shower we had did dampen some things, and some people did leave
Yeah.
because
not
of that.
many.
But
'Cause
but it was
so
so
bad.
crazy getting
Yeah.
out. And
Well, again, you had a band that everybody loves. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, they have a great following, especially here.
Who's the
They're all
band?
locals. It was all going blue.
Oh,
wasn't it? That's what I
yeah,
thought.
and
so-
they as soon as they stepped off the trailer, they're like, "Can we sign up for next year?"
Yeah,
Aw.
So they love performing
Yeah.
for Columbia City. They
Well,
really do
and.
'Cause they're following
Not a
it,
lot
yeah.
of places that you can, go and perform in this area for 2,500 people, or
Mhm.
3,000 people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
that's a big venue for them.
That's a big thing for the community.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
A lot
Oh,
of
the place
people.
was packed when we drove over.
It's so
On
much
30, you
fun.
could just see it was
Yeah.
packed in there.
And
Oh.
even after it just rained.
Yeah.
We just need
right.
another exit out.
Yes.
Yeah, the way you did the exit was excellent.
Yeah, working
like
on
you
it.
had it.
Working on
Well, I will say that Chief Parrott designed all that. We
You
just
did a
put
great job.
we just put the things where it needed to be, and he handled the rest. And
People
he-
pick their poison.
and-
Which lane? Which
Yep,
lane?
yep.
Once you're in it, you ain't going anywhere else.
Yeah,
Exactly.
You have to go left or
Exactly.
right. Yep.
yeah. Golf carts are starting to to prove to be a little bit harder to navigate because they will go around the
Well, they're
line of
smaller.
cars,
Yeah.
and then that interrupts the people that are being nice, and so
Yeah.
that's one reason why it takes a little bit longer. But
So are we in our last year of the Camp 4 contract?
that's what we've been finding out is that I put a contract in front of you guys last year that the way it happened is that we signed a contract for 2024, 25, and 26,
Was
I
it
think.
I think it was a 3-year.
It's a 3-year.
Okay.
But the other contract wasn't done yet, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So they wanted to make sure that we could get it. I have not talked to Matt Green yet with Cantor, because we just have been talking about the money side of things and what we saw. And the other thing that I don't know if it's real pertinent or not, but we have to watch the size of shell that we shoot off from back there.
There's a fallout distance.
Mhm.
Oh.
So it's basically what I got told from Tom LaRue, fire chief, was that for every inch in diameter, you have to have 100 feet. So when you shoot off an 800 or an 8-inch shell, you have to have 800 feet from the closest, or I don't know if it's closest or everywhere around you for the fallout.
It's a perimeter.
Yeah.
If I remember, Cantor never offered anything above a 10-inch shell. I think that's as big as they went, at least what I remember.
That's pretty
So,
big.
so
Yeah.
officially
Yeah.
speaking, it's from a structure.
That,
Okay,
so,
so.
I was gonna ask
so
that, 'cause we're-
officially speaking, those bathrooms are out of compliance with where we're shooting fireworks.
mhm.
I don't know where else in the world we would shoot fireworks at this point, but with that, again, that being said, we find a way to, we're finding a way to make it work, let's say it that way.
Well, the bathroom's a metal roof too, isn't it? Isn't it a metal roof on the
I think it
bathroom?
may be.
The what?
The bathroom's
are
back by the
metal
pond?
Yeah, are they what?
Is it metal
No.
roof?
It's concrete.
Oh,
roof. Oh,
even better.
It's all concrete,
Okay.
the entire
So
thing.
that probably is what
Yeah,
saves
that
it,
probably
right?
helps.
But the other thing is that, there is a conversation being had about a potential development happening over 200, which will, I don't know that it'll directly impact because there is a setback from the woods. So I don't know how it will impact, if anything. Point of the matter is we're gonna find a way around it. Because that's our place we shoot fireworks, and there's really no other place in the city,
Right.
unless we're gonna go and buy a whole bunch of farmland, which we don't wanna do that. So, especially after getting 60 acres here, or 58 acres. Or-
Can't go back down to the bowl.
No, we 100% can't go back to the bowl.
I remember
No,
going
we're
there.
Really, really bad
That was
on
awesome.
distance on that one.
That was awesome.
So, yes, I've heard that story. So, long story short is that we're making it work, but, really 8-inch shells are probably about as big as we can get out there.
Okay.
But honestly, if you saw the big fireworks, those are probably plenty fine. I mean,
Oh,
again, people that aren't in the park are usually at the hospital or at Demone Grimes or in Kroger Lot, right? and they can see them perfectly fine, they just can't see the smaller ones.
Right.
When we left to go to Fort Wayne, there was one car in the hospital
Mhm.
parking lot, and when we came back after the show had started, completely full,
Mhm.
completely. It was
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Which always brings up the issue of, hopefully we don't have an emergency,
Right.
Yes,
especially when people are leaving.
yes.
Right.
But that's a whole
Wow.
different story for a different day and not your problem, so.
I have a question. Where did people sit when they went to when they were at Duval?
You
On the
hung
Under
the
it.
Side.
The hillside.
Yeah.
So they shoot them off by the, they shoot them off by the woods, or did they shoot
Yeah,
them
they
off
shoot them
by-
off like kind of where the parking lot is now by the
Mhm.
tennis courts.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's where they fire them up. Yeah, back by the woods to
We
the
would
west.
sit on the,
The hill.
So there used to be a
across
football
the
field
street.
there and a track, and they
Yeah.
shoot them off.
Yeah,
At the,
believe
yeah,
it.
And
that was
the-
where they played football.
And the baseball
Much
field that's
cost
there
for
now,
back then.
It was turned. Right.
Until a mortar
Yeah, the backstop
shell
was
falls
over
into
by
somebody's
the
lap.
county
that
road.
that little building,
Right.
and we couldn't play
Back
a
to
lot
your
of times because it was
earlier
wet.
point, I do agree.
Where was the football
Sponsored.
field?
It was
In
the
the
old
middle.
high school field.
It was
Yeah.
part of
I think
the
that will
It's
be
cinder
the
track.
gap
Mhm.
and there was
that
a
we
cinder
have
track there.
versus,
Mhm.
Again,
At Duval?
just
Yeah.
philosophically
Yeah.
Like
struggle
in that
with
little
shooting
area?
all of it.
Yeah. It was
effectively
very
lighting
tightly
money on
compacted.
fire. You know, especially with the fact that you can go anywhere basically the next day and find, or the day after the next to find fireworks, you know, so.
In Tri-Lakes, I mean, they've got a business out there that's just fundraising.
Yep.
365 days a
Yep.
year, so
And they
that's.
do a great job, and it's
Yes, they
no
do.
disrespect to them, it's more of, it's really not apples to oranges, or I mean, it is apples to oranges, it's
Right.
not apples to apples, right?
Right,
So,
right.
so not to your question,
No, that's right.
but it was on my agenda.
So, done with the fireworks?
Not yet.
Okay.
In my opinion, sister lives on Big Lakes, so we seen Tri-Lakes, Big Lakes, and Columbia City. The lakes were better in towns, from what I see.
Good job. Thank you.
in my
Yeah,
opinion.
it's okay.
Split decision.
That it? Okay, so the second thing I have is the Blue River Trail
Okay.
we have in town. It comes up to Main Street by the Speedway Ready Mix,
Mhm.
and then soon it's gonna go down Spencer Street and then down Chauncey,
Yep.
right,
Mhm.
to Vine Street.
Yep.
So currently, it goes from Vine Street across Line Street and west out to that small trailer park,
Yes.
approximately, right?
Yes,
Mhm.
Okay.
where it dead ends.
Yes, where it dead ends currently. So I've seen on Vine Street, the corner of Vine and Chauncey Streets,
Yes.
uh,
Someone used it as a parking?
it
parking
is,
space?
yes. So my concern is with the big dually diesel trucks that are pretty heavy,
Mhm.
and then the gigantic tandem axle trailers that I see parked on top of the Greenway Trail.
Mhm.
Is there a chance for damaging that? And can there be something done for that? Because I do know there's been some people that have tried to walk their animals or just walk their children, and they come around the corner from the sidewalk, and now they have to walk in the street because these vehicles are now parked all along that area. So I wanted to bring that up, and I didn't know if you were aware of that, or if the mayor was aware of that, you might be.
Yeah.
If something can be done about that, because I don't want to see someone have to walk out into the street
Agreed.
and take a chance of someone coming around the corner from one of the other adjacent streets and have an issue there.
Yeah.
And also, you know, the impact that it does put on the surface
Yeah.
itself, right? Because we don't have to replace it
Agreed.
anytime soon.
I agree. Yeah, I've made a note of it. I'll talk to Gary and see if he wouldn't mind just running down there and like,
I've
just
been-
having a little bit of a, hey guys.
Been
kind
by
of
there
a
several
conversation,
times,
Right?
so.
Well, and again, because the trail, I mean, we're getting ready to go to bid.
It's
with
not
the
currently
trail,
being used, but.
But
sure.
still, yeah,
Point
and I
out.
know the response back probably will be that, that it's not used very often, and so we don't think it's a big deal, but at the end of the day, it's still a trail, it is still utilized, even if people don't use Chauncey Street, they just hop on, or they do hop on from Chauncey Street, right, it's still a trail, and so they
Right.
really shouldn't be parking on it in the first place, so,
Right, right,
yeah, I made a note to do that.
Okay.
And once the kids start going and it's finished for the school,
Mhm.
it will.
Well,
get
that's the other
busy.
thing, yeah, because it's going to continue on down Line Street
Yes.
somehow, make its way out to the high school. So I just wanted to nip that in the bud before
Yeah.
it becomes a real big
That's
issue,
fair.
right?
That's very
Okay,
fair.
that's all. That's all I had.
Well, you showed your age. Nip it in the butt?
So the only other
Older
thing-
than some, but not as old as mine.
The only other thing I had, and Matt, I apologize, I should have prepped you on this. One thing I notice a lot of when we're driving back and forth on US 30 is the Little League signage. Have you guys talked at all about that?
No.
It's just the championships from 1992, when I was, 8 years old. I recognize that for some that may be a source of pride, but those signs really are in great condition, and I do wonder, because we haven't been part of Little League for how
Mhm.
many umpteen years now,
Mhm.
I do have to wonder the question of, is it worthwhile for us to even continue to have those signs up there? Number one, since probably the majority of people that were on that team do not live here anymore, maybe they do, I hope they do, but I guess the follow-up question to that is there a better location for that in some way, shape, or form instead of right on US 30? I keep coming back to, because it was so long ago, because we're not a part of Little League, it kind of does two things. Number one, it shows that we haven't had champions since the 90s,
Right.
which to me is not necessarily true.
Correct.
But that's what it insinuates,
Oh, absolutely.
right? Because we
Yeah.
haven't been a part of Little League for a long time. But on top of that, if we are going to keep it, I think we need to update the signs. But preferably, you're going to get people that are going to be peeved that you took down their one shining moment, if you will. But maybe we just relocate the signs to a different place in the park. I just don't know that US 30 is the right place for that anymore, especially because we are not associated with that league anymore.
Yeah.
So,
20 plus years we haven't been with that league.
but I do think, yes, so but I do think that is a board discussion or decision to be made. I don't think it's a executive decision to be made or mass decision, because it is a historical thing, and it does have to do with the programmatic piece. So I'm not asking for an answer tonight, but I do want you to think about that a little bit. I think it just insinuates that we have not been successful since the 90s, and that's not true. We have a lot of people that have gone through our programs since the 90s that have been very successful, not
Sure.
just in athletics, but in life. I think we provide a ton of different sport and athletic opportunities for kids that are not represented with that sign.
Right.
So
I don't know that I've seen the sign.
Yeah.
Where is
so
it?
it's
On-
when you're going westbound, it's on the right-hand side, right, Matt? So,
Going westbound on the right-hand side?
yep,
And
it's
where?
right before the bridge. I feel like it's right before the bridge.
It's in the
or-
bridge area.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's in the
So
bridge
if you,
area.
so if
So
you want
it's
to
on
ever go look at
on the
it,
north side of US 30.
go down 205 to 30, take a left as you're
Yes.
going back to 9, and you'll look on your right-hand side as you're going in. And honestly, that's the other thing, is it's kind of disconnected from the park in the first place.
Kind of is.
Because the park's on the left-hand side.
So what if it's moved inside the park by the ball fields, if that's so desired?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a discussion that.
And
That can
again,
be
the
had.
question is, does that
Does it even need to be
signal
up?
to the people coming into our park that we've not been
Right,
successful
right.
since the 90s? So again, I think it's just something where, yes, you're going to have some people that'll be peeved about the fact that you took down their one shining moment, but I think the other side of that is, it's really not representative of who we are today as the parks.
Mhm.
We do so many more things than just Little League baseball, softball. We don't even do Little League baseball and softball. We do our own baseball and softball program.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
things to consider. I just lay it at your feet to consider, but it's something that kind of gets stuck in my crawl when I constantly have
I've
it.
looked at that
If you
sign and thought
moved
the
it,
same thing.
I like-
Man, we're horrible.
Maybe, yeah. I do like the history of it though. But maybe we moved it to a different location, like at the baseball diamonds, or I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Well,
again,
I mean,
it's-
take a look.
And maybe
To
it's
your
a
point,
reworking of
it's
the
Little
sign.
League, we've not done that for
Yeah.
over 20 years.
Maybe it's a
so-
reworking of the sign to, maybe we reframe the sign to say, Little League participants from X to Y, and these are our champions from that time period, right?
Mhm.
And maybe that's the way to encapsulate it of like, during this time, we were a part of Little League, and during that time,
Right.
here's the champions that,
I like
but to
that.
make it so that it's not like this open-ended from, 1985 through now, we've had everybody that were champions in the 90s and ever since then, right?
Right,
So,
right.
I think just reframing so.
Just like at our high school, we have that wall of fame and.
Yeah,
like, you know, years
Yeah.
of people, yeah, I like that.
That will
idea.
continually be updated,
Yeah.
not just,
Right,
and,
Right.
Nothing-
Well, this one
nothing
won't
for
be
30 years.
updated.
yes. What?
This one won't be updated.
This one wouldn't be updated, right, but
Right.
well, I mean, again, you know, I mean, you could go to the extent of saying, kind of beside the Little League, of saying, you know, these are the teams that were champions this year, and they get to be up for a year or something, but I just think, I think we need to reframe that sign, because I don't think it's representative of who we are as a park system anymore.
what were they champions of? State or national?
It was, I don't know, there was like, it's the National Little League program, and it was like, they went to some championships of some sort.
It's a region, I think it's
Right.
regional.
Oh, it may show
Yeah.
on Google Maps.
That's what I was gonna
Yes,
do.
it may show on Google Maps, you're right.
I think it was regional.
Regional, okay.
Yeah, and it's, I
That
think
is
it's
the-
only been one time.
Wasn't it?
Mhm.
That'd be surprising.
Yeah, is what I remember from the talk with the individuals that came in.
From
Little League.
Little League, yes.
That's one thing that they kept coming back to. So,
So anyways, again, this is why I don't come to your meetings, because I make them a half an hour longer than they need to be. I'm sorry about that, but I do want to at least check in, so.
And you're right, it sticks out like a sore thumb.
It really does.
And it says a lot without saying much.
It does. I 100%
There's the
agree with you.
bridge.
Have you found it yet, Mark?
I have
And I'm-
not. I have not found it.
Field trip.
Right.
I kind of,
Take the long way home.
Uh-huh.
yeah, I feel like I jumped the gun or something because we used to have the old logo up on the pavilion,
Oh,
open air
yeah.
pavilion.
Yeah.
And I had the guys take that down and we put up our new logo.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
Up
love
there.
the new logo.
This
So,
here.
yeah, mhm.
Yeah, it's great.
I think it's very representative of our, who we are.
Mhm. It is nice.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Who did that?
Does that sound ideas? Or was that? Mark
Who
Bradley?
owns Sound Ideas?
Dave, I want to say Dave Hazen.
That's, I think they were the
Sound
ones that did
Ideas
it.
Because
Mhm.
they're the ones that did our logo, they're the
There's
ones
a
that did
sign.
our video, our welcome video, that was back in 2015, but,
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
like
I think
that.
you're right, that they were the ones that did that.
It's very nice.
yeah.
You still looking at
I found a sign.
Did you find the sign?
it? You know, there's a song about that.
Yeah. Here's your sign, yeah.
No, that she saw the sign.
I saw
Oh,
the
my-
sign.
Yeah, oh, yeah. I see the sign. It's very small text, actually. It,
Yeah,
in,
it's
in
nothing
this,
fancy.
yeah, in this photo on Google Maps, it's blurry.
It sticks out like a sore thumb when you're driving
Yeah.
down and looking for it.
And it's not in that great a shape. It's leaning and stuff too, so.
It's
yeah.
really not in good shape. So
It's
that's
not.
why, that's what's kind of like, well, it's at the end of life, so we really need to kind of make a decision on, are we just gonna replace it? Or are we going to do something different? Because it's really, again, it says a lot without saying a lot.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
So something maybe to put on your next agenda to think about or whatever, I would like that to be a decision from this board. I was just telling you this is my opinion on it, so.
Good observation.
You cannot guess how many times I look at things and go, we need to fix that, we need to fix that, we need to fix that, we need to fix that.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything?
Oh, just next thing is, the next meeting is August 26th.
See that? It'll work.
No, need a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn to me.
I second.
Alright.